What's up, 49ers faithful? As we head into another chapter of this offseason, all eyes are locked on one of the most crucial pieces of this team's puzzle, left tackle Trent Williams. Whether you're following every step of the offseason or just tuning in now, make no mistake, this man could be the difference between a deep playoff run and a season of frustration. That's how big of a deal he is. And right now, everyone's asking the same question. Is Trent Williams going to show up to OTAs? Let's not beat around the bush. Ever since Williams joined the 49ers back in 2020, the numbers speak loud and clear. When he's in the lineup, the offensive line plays with confidence, structure, and dominance. But without him, it's like night and day. The team has a record of 4 victorias and 12 derrotas in games he's missed. That stat alone should tell you everything you need to know about his importance to this roster. And the situation gets even more tense when you look at who's next in line. Andre Dillard is currently listed as the backup. And while he's an NFL caliber player, let's be real, he's a downgrade compared to last year's backup, Jalen Moore. Moore wasn't a star by any means, but he held his own when called upon. Now he's in Kansas City, and the depth behind Williams feels more fragile than ever. That's why this week is so important. With OTAs kicking off and the media being allowed to watch practice on Thursday, the big question on everyone's mind is whether or not Trent Williams will be present. We're talking about a player who doesn't just anchor the left side of the line. He sets the tone for the entire offense. His presence brings a sense of calm to the quarterback and opens up running lanes that make life easier for guys like Christian McCaffrey. Now, technically speaking, Williams already checked in for phase 1 of the offseason program a few days ago. That's what the team says. But here's the thing. There's been no footage, no photos, not even a single quote from the man himself. Meanwhile, teammates like McCaffrey, Fred Warner, and George Kittle have been out there speaking to the media, posting photos, and showing they're fully bought in. George, in particular, was practically flooding social media with pics of himself, lifting with the squad. But Trent, silent, ghost, MIA. That silence just adds to the mystery. The last time we really saw or heard from Williams was all the way back in October. Since then, nothing. No media appearances, no social media activity, nothing to indicate where his head is at. That changed just slightly a couple of days ago when he was tagged on Instagram at a Cadillac dealership in Houston, Texas. He was wearing a 49ers shirt, which is a good sign. At least symbolically, it tells us he still identifies with the team. But being in Texas isn't quite the same as being in California with your teammates sweating it out in OTAs. And before anyone panics, let's remember that OTAs are completely voluntary. Players are not required to attend. Some veterans skip them every year and come back ready to dominate once training camp begins. So even if Trent doesn't show up this week, it doesn't mean he's out or disconnected. But the fact that he reportedly attended phase 1, even quietly, suggests he might show up again this week. That would be a huge relief for everyone involved, coaches, players, and fans alike. But let's say he does show up. What then? That brings up even more questions. Will he be fully participating in drills, or will he just be watching from the sidelines in a hoodie and cap? Is he still recovering from any nagging injuries, like the ankle issues he's dealt with in the past? And most importantly, what's his mindset going into this season? Motivation is key for veterans like Williams. After so many years in the league, it's not just about staying in shape. It's about staying hungry. You've got to wonder where he's at mentally. Is he all in for another shot at the Super Bowl? Does he see this team as the one that can finally get it done? Or is he feeling the weight of a long career and starting to think about what's next? These are the storylines that fans and analysts will be watching closely, especially as Thursday approaches and the media gets access to the practice field. This isn't just about one player showing up to a practice. It's about leadership, presence, and what it means to be the cornerstone of a franchise. Trent Williams isn't just another veteran. He's a future Hall of Famer who has the power to elevate everyone around him simply by being there. His absence, on the other hand, leaves a massive void, both physically and emotionally. This team has championship aspirations, but without its anchor, the path to the postseason suddenly looks a lot more complicated. The schedule for next season, at least on paper, isn't brutal. In fact, it's one of the more manageable ones in the league. That's why having Williams healthy and engaged could be the final ingredient needed to push the 49ers deep into January. But as always, Football is unpredictable. Injuries happen. Depth gets tested. And when that happens, you want your leaders present, not just on game day, but every step of the way. So here we are, just days away from the first real glimpse into how this team is shaping up. The media will be on site, cameras rolling, eyes peeled. And one of the first things they'll be looking for is whether number 71 is suited up and ready to go. Because make no mistake, how far the 49ers go this year could depend entirely on whether or not Trent Williams is fully locked in. And even if he does walk onto that field, the questions won't stop. Is he in game shape? Is he communicating with the new pieces on the line? How's the chemistry looking? Is there a visible fire in his eyes? Those are the kind of details fans crave. The little things that tell you whether a team is quietly confident or simply going through the motions for. Now, though, it's all speculation. A lot of smoke, not much fire, but that's about to change soon. Once the media steps into that practice facility and the footage starts rolling, we'll start getting answers, not just about Trent Williams, but about what kind of identity this 49ers team is going to have in the upcoming season. Will they be the hungry, disciplined unit we saw at their best? Or will the offseason uncertainty bleed into their preparation? One thing's for sure, Trent Williams is more than just a name on the roster. He's the tone setter, the enforcer, the guy who can make or break this team's offensive rhythm. And whatever he decides to do this week, show up, participate, observe, or stay away, will speak volumes. The truth is, when it comes to a player like Trent Williams, it's never just about attendance. It's about intention. It's about whether he's stepping onto that field with purpose, with fire, with that same dominance he's shown year after year. Because when Trent plays like himself, defenses feel it. Quarterbacks trust their blind side. Running backs explode off the edge with confidence. Coaches sleep easier at night knowing their left side is locked down by one of the most talented linemen to ever wear a helmet. But when he's not there, the whole equation changes. The 49ers have built their entire offense around a system that demands precision, rhythm, and timing. It's not some backyard football where you can plug anyone in and hope for the best. This is a scheme that depends heavily on offensive line. Play, not just in pass protection, but in the run game, the misdirections, the screens, the play action boots. And at the heart of that system is the left tackle. So when someone like Andre Dillard is potentially the one holding that spot, instead of Williams, the ripple effects are huge. Dillard might have the size and the pedigree, but he's never shown the consistency or technique that made Williams an All-Pro. That gap in talent becomes glaring, especially when you're lining up against elite edge rushers week after week. Now, think about the psychological element. When a leader like Trent is absent, it's not just a tactical void, it's an emotional one. Guys look up to him. Younger linemen model their habits after his. The intensity he brings, the quiet dominance, the experience, that can't be replaced by coaching or by effort alone. There's a reason every major offensive coordinator, every quarterback who's worked with him, raves about what he brings to the locker room. So this week's OTA appearance isn't just symbolic. It could be a sign that Williams is recommitting himself. That he's ready to guide this unit through what might be one of the most wide open NFC races in years. And let's talk about that race for a second. The NFC is in flux. Teams that were dominant a couple years ago are now rebuilding. Others are still figuring out their quarterback situations. The 49ers, on paper, have one of the most complete rosters in the league. They've got stars at every level of the defense. Their offensive weapons are top tier. Their coaching staff is experienced and aggressive. What's the missing link? Health, cohesion, veteran leadership. Those things don't show up on stat sheets, but they show up in January when it's 3rd and short with the season on the line. That's when guys like Trent Williams matter most. Remember, this isn't a guy who plays half speed. When he suits up, he brings the same intensity to practice that he brings on Sundays. His presence elevates the whole line. You see guys finishing blocks more aggressively, communicating better, taking pride in their craft. It's contagious. So even if all he does this week is stretch, do light positional work, and coach up the younger guys, that alone would be a massive boost. And if he's fully participating, that's an even bigger win for the 49ers. But fans have every right to be cautious. Williams isn't young anymore. He's been in the league for over a decade. He's had surgeries. He's played through pain. He knows his body better than anyone, and he's earned the right to manage his offseason how he sees fit. The concern, though, is whether he's starting to think about life after football. Is retirement on his mind? Is he already halfway out the door? Or is he gearing up for one last all-in run? We've seen veterans reach this point in their careers before. Some push through and have legendary final chapters. Others fade away quietly. What separates them often isn't talent. It's hunger. It's how badly they want it. The whispers have already started. People wondering if Williams still has that hunger, if he still wants to grind through the wear and tear of another long season, or if he's already thinking about what comes next. Broadcasting, coaching, just enjoying life with family. All of those options are on the table for a player who's done everything except win that elusive Super Bowl. But maybe that's exactly what keeps him going. The ring, the legacy, the one thing missing from an otherwise flawless career. He's been to the Pro Bowl, he's been named All-Pro, he's made his money. But that Super Bowl moment, that confetti shower, that parade still eludes him. And if he believes this 49ers team has what it takes, that could be the motivation that brings out the best in him. Because the window is still open. It won't stay that way forever, but it's open right now. Let's also not forget the trust factor. The coaching staff knows what Trent brings to the table. They're not going to pressure him into full contact drills if he's not ready. They've got a long summer ahead, and the goal is to have him peaking in December and January, not May. But showing up, being visible, mentoring, and setting the tone, that's what great veterans do. That's what separates champions from teams that just hope for the best. And for a fan base as passionate and intelligent as the 49ers faithful, these things matter. They pay attention. They notice who's out there grinding and who's missing. They've seen enough to know that championships aren't won with highlight plays. They're won with grit, with consistency, with leadership. That's why this moment, as small as it might seem, carries real weight. Now zooming out, the bigger picture is this. Every team faces crossroads in the offseason. Moments where leadership is tested, where veterans set the tone, where young players look around and decide whether to commit or coast. Trent Williams showing up would send a clear message to the locker room. It would tell everyone that the standard remains high, that the expectations haven't changed, that anything less than a Super Bowl is unacceptable. And that's the mindset this team needs if they're going to make another deep run. The NFC isn't just sitting back waiting to be won. Teams like the Eagles, Cowboys, and Lions are loading up. The Packers are coming back into the picture. The Seahawks are retooling. Every game is going to be a battle. And in those battles, you need warriors, especially in the trenches. Williams is that warrior. A technician, a tone setter, a protector of quarterbacks, and a punisher of defenders. But now, it's about more than what he does between the whistles. It's about how he leads, how he prepares, how he carries himself during these critical moments. In the offseason, when habits are formed and expectations are set, there's also the business side of this. And let's not pretend that doesn't factor in. The 49ers front office is always thinking ahead. They're analyzing every contract, every roster spot, every possible trade or restructure. And with Williams' age and salary, there's always going to be speculation. Is this his last season? Will he renegotiate? Will the team start grooming his replacement? Those conversations are already happening behind the scenes, and his presence at OTAs could either calm those discussions or intensify them depending on what he shows. In the end, it comes down to this. Trent Williams doesn't owe anyone anything. He's already proven everything there is to prove in this league. But if he chooses to go all in, if he decides to push his body and his mind one more time, this 49ers team might just become unstoppable. Because when Williams is on the field, he's not just a blocker. He's a difference maker, a tone changer, a championship caliber presence. So now we wait. We watch the practice footage. We analyze every frame, every interaction, every moment. Is he there? Is he locked in? Is he taking reps? Is he coaching up the young guys? These are the signs we'll be looking for. And no matter what happens, one thing is clear. As Trent Williams goes, so go the San Francisco 49ers. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what could be one of the most stunning developments of the offseason, whispers are growing louder around the league suggesting that star wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins might be making his way to the San Francisco 49ers. While nothing has been confirmed, the chatter around the NFL is that talks are underway, or at least in the air, between Hopkins' camp and the NFC powerhouse. Hopkins, known for his elite route running, sure hands, and clutch performances, would add yet another layer to an already dynamic 49ers 49ers offense, pairing him with Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey would create an arsenal most defenses would dread facing. And with Kyle Shanahan calling plays, the idea alone is enough to send shivers through defensive coordinators league-wide. San Francisco is no stranger to bold moves. In recent seasons, the 49ers have shown a willingness to push chips to the center of the table in pursuit of a Super Bowl title. Adding a veteran like Hopkins could be the final piece in a puzzle that's just missing one small but vital corner. Some insiders claim that initial conversations have already taken place, although no official comment has been made by either party. Still, the buzz is growing. Hopkins' fit in Shanahan's system has been the subject of heated debates among analysts. His ability to stretch the field and create mismatches would make the 49ers even more unpredictable and explosive. Could this be the move that finally puts San Francisco over the top? While the rumor mill spins and fans speculate, one thing is certain. If Hopkins lands in the Bay, the 49ers offense would instantly become one of the most feared in the NFL. For now, it's all whispers and winks, but in the ever-dramatic world of the NFL, where smoke often leads to fire, this is one storyline worth watching closely. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.